What's going on today, guys? And in today's video, we're going to go over how I was able to operationalize losing 50 pounds of body fat in just 5 months using an actual proven method of science called metabolic priming. Okay, so today's video, we're going to go over two key terms. We're going to go over metabolic adaptation, metabolic priming, and then we're going to go over an actual program breakdown of what my personal training program looks like and all of the resources and information that's going to be available to all of its clients within the program. And then we're going to go over the actual nutrition metric that I've developed based around metabolic adaptation that has operationalized fat loss. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to go over actual client testimonials and actual client case studies that have seen amazing, unreasonable success with using metabolic priming to lose body fat. Okay, so if you guys are new to this channel, what's going on? My name is Adam. I'm an online fitness coach, online fitness personnel. I do a lot of online fitness stuff, and I have successfully operationalized fat loss in men by using metabolic priming. All right, so before I get the video started, I just want to state that this program, my personal training program, is not for everybody, right? The clients that see the best results with me are clients that are highly motivated, dedicated individuals who can follow a plan. They're clients that are not crippled by their own self-limiting beliefs, are clients that are willing to try something new to achieve a result that they never achieved before, and clients that are hardworking individuals with courage. Okay, so if you are none of those, then this program simply just isn't for you. You can exit out of this video. We can shake hands. We can still follow each other and be friends. But simply this program is just not for you. It is for people that are dedicated, hardworking, and motivated to see unreasonable success within the program. So anyways, let's get right into it. So this is my personal transformation right here. I lost 50 pounds of body fat from March 14th to July 10th. And this was the personal transformation that I had made during that time. So I have been every single type of body type, right? I've been skinny fat. I've been overweight. I've been, not as muscular as I am now. And I've also been, kind of bulked and more thick, right? So I've been every type of body part. So that, in my opinion, that's what makes me one of the best coaches, because I understand where you're at, right? I understand where you've been, and I understand where you're wanting to get. So these are some of the personal transformations that have happened within the program within the last 6 months. So all of these guys have went through a metabolic priming phase. And we'll get into what metabolic priming and metabolic adaptation is here in a second. But all of these clients have seen unreasonable results using metabolic priming and actually eating more food. Every single one of these clients. And so here's another page of clients. So these are another page of clients that have seen insane results within the last 6 months of using my program and using my nutrition metric I've developed based around metabolic priming. And so let's kind of get right into what metabolic adaptation is. So metabolic adaptation is also called adaptive thermogenesis or diet fatigue, right? Which metabolic adaptation is your body's ability to lower your metabolism due to food intake that you're intaking, right? So it therefore adapts to the circumstances which you're putting in your body nutrition-wise. So metabolism is the process of how the body burns and uses energy. So the body's survival mechanism to ensure we have enough energy to perform essential functions, right? So if you were somebody who's been under eating for an extremely long amount of time, right, you will undergo what's called diet fatigue, which means that your metabolism will begin to slow in anticipation of you actually starving. Right? So let's take a human in the desert, for example, right? They have no food, they're starving. So the last thing to actually burn as energy cells in the human body is fat cells, right? So if you put the body in starvation mode, it'll begin to not only slow your metabolism down, but actually put back fat cells in anticipation of you starving, right? So this process of metabolic adaptation helps us survive in times of food scarcity. So it slows the process of actually burning food, and so that it slows your metabolism down with the low amount of food that you're intaking. So food scarcity today comes from purposeful caloric restriction, returning energy burning in the body to energy storage. So a lot of people in today's society, one, they cut their calories extremely fast, or they've been dieting for an extremely long amount of time, which has actually drowned out their metabolism and slowed their metabolism down over time, turning the body into energy burning, into energy storing, right? So once you reach a certain weight loss plateau, your body can reach survival mode where any extra energy is stored as fat to prevent you from losing too much weight. So it's a proven science of the body's starvation mode. When it goes into starvation mode and starts storing energy instead of actually burning it, right? So if you've been in the spot where you've been dieting for an extreme amount of time, or you cut your calories extremely fast, then you could be going through a process what's called metabolic adaptation, which means that your body has slowed down its metabolism over time. And this is probably one of the biggest things I see in the fitness industry today is when people cut their calories 1,000 calories, they lose 20 pounds and they hit a weight loss plateau. And then they end up gaining it right back, right? Because when you cut your calories super fast and you slow your metabolism down, one, when you add a little bit more food, you're going to gain that weight right back, never actually achieving sustainable results because you've actually drowned out your metabolism, and anytime you add just a little bit more food, your body weight will skyrocket up, right? So how do we combat metabolic adaptation? Metabolic priming, which is the manipulation of cellular metabolism, which I have done hours and hours of literature on, read case studies, and I've actually implemented into an organizational, operationalized process for clients to lose body fat, right? So turning the body from survival mode and food storage mode into actual burning energy, right? So getting your basal metabolic rate to raise, right? Getting your body to burn more calories, getting your body to burn more food. So how do we do this, right? How do we do this correctly, right? So, if you're in the position where you've been eating an extreme amount of calories for some time, the first thing that I do for all of my clients is I do what's called a caloric intake assessment, which means that I assess how many calories that you're currently intaking per day, right? So then I have you track for 3 to 4 days. I take the sum of all those calories, all the calories you ate with the sum of 3 to 4 days, and then divide it by how many days we tracked. So therefore, I can get a clear estimation of what your average caloric intake is. So then I supplement you with actual proven structure around those calories. It gives you a protein goal, which protein goal is calculated by 1.4 to 1.2 to 1.4 times your body weight. And then I supplement you with a fat goal, which is going to be 0.8 times or 0.4 times your body weight, right? So now that you have a protein intake, and why protein intake is important is that, first of all, you probably heard the term that, eat 1 pound per body weight, right? So typically, I've done many studies on this, and all the case studies that have people eating 1.2 to 1.4 times their body weight actually see a higher catabolic effect on body fat, similar to an over-the-counter fat burner, right? So fat intake metabolizes hormone levels, right? It regulates hormone levels. It regulates T3, T4, thyroid, metabolism, testosterone. So fat intake regulates hormone levels. So I therefore give my clients a fat intake, which is 0.4 times their body weight. And then I can successfully know, one, how many calories you're eating, how much protein you should intake, and then how much fat you should intake. And then I backfill the rest with carbohydrates to meet what you're already eating, right? So therefore, we go into a metabolic priming phase, an 8 to 10 week metabolic priming phase, which means we fix your body's hormones, we fix your body's metabolism, we kick your body in from energy storing mode to energy burning mode, right? So how do we successfully do this? So once we have our set calories and our structure around our calories, one, you'll be given a very good body recomposition because now you have structure within the calories that you're already eating. And from there, I slowly work your calories up, stimulating more metabolic growth, growing your basal metabolic rate, and get your body to turn from starvation mode into energy burning mode, right? So for 8 to 10 weeks, I first have my clients, one, start slowly raising your calories, getting your body to burn more food, getting your body to prepare itself for if you want to go into a structured fat loss phase. And in this process, I have seen insane results from my clients eating more food and losing body fat, right? Because now that your body is turning from starvation mode into energy burning mode, you're going to be burning more fat and burning more calories, eating more food. So the first thing I start off with all my clients is 8 to 10 week long metabolic priming phase, which we prime your metabolism, get your metabolism firing again. And then within 8 to 10 weeks, we can raise your calories, right? So now that we get your calories up, now we have more calories to work with once we fix your metabolism, once we fix your hormones, once we raise your metabolic rate, and then we have more calories to work down from when we raise those calories over the 8 to 10 week period, right? And this is exactly how my clients are seeing 70, 80 pounds of fat loss in months, right? Because we're able to manipulate metabolism, use it to our advantage, and use metabolic priming to burn body fat and build muscle in the process and set ourselves up for even more fat loss to come, right? So the great thing about metabolic priming in general as well is that you will be building more muscle. So some of you are probably in the point right now where you are in the skinny fat range, which means that you don't have enough muscle mass to actually push against that skin, which makes you appear to have more body fat, because you simply just don't have enough muscle mass to body fat ratio, right? So in the metabolic priming process, we focus on muscle growth and fat burnings, right? So as you start to grow your muscles, that muscle starts to push against that skin a little bit more, make you appear a little bit tighter, make you appear a little bit leaner, get you stronger, and also raise those calories in the metabolic priming phase, right? So let's kind of go over the actual program breakdown and what my personal program looks like for all its clients, right? So we can go to my personal program called Trainerize. It is in the App Store. I have all my graphics and all my personal coaching graphics with the Elevation Athletics logo on them. And I can see everything my clients do from an hour perspective on the timeline. So I'm able to keep up with them very quickly. So let's go to an actual client real quick. So we will go over Phil. So Phil is a great example. My client Phil is a great example of how well metabolic priming works, right? So from Phil's personal perspective, I set him for daily goals that he needs to hit per day, which means that we operationalize what we need to do per day to reach a certain goal in a certain period of time, right? So if you break it down to a day-to-day period, you're able to know, hey, what do I need to do today to achieve results 5 months from now, right? So I set him with daily goals that he needs to hit every single day. So also, I pay for an integration with MyFitnessPal. So many of you have probably heard of MyFitnessPal before, which means I'm able to see what you eat on a day-to-day time period, right? So I can see what Phil had for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, and I can even see the actual program breakdown from MyFitnessPal, which he intakes, right? So this has proved to be extremely beneficial for helping my clients not only, hit their calories perfectly, but also give them, insights on what I think they should do differently. If they're eating a little bit too much protein, I can say, hey, let's fix this. If they're eating a little bit less on carbs, I say, hey, we could add this. And I'm able to, successfully be very in-depth about how I want my clients to go about using their MyFitnessPal to track their calories, right? So we can kind of see within Phil's profile that we can kind of give you a breakdown of the overall notes that I've taken over Phil within the past couple of months, right? So Phil, for example, came to me on September 28th weighing 280 pounds, right? So Phil is successfully all the way down to 241. So he's lost almost 40 pounds with this program and under my personal program, right? So in Phil's dash, you can kind of see the notes that I've taken on Phil in general. We started him off at 2,600 calories, right? So we did a caloric intake assessment like I was describing earlier. I gave him a caloric structure swap. I gave him a protein goal with 1.2 to 1.4 times his body weight, a fat goal at 0.4 times his body weight, and I backfilled the rest with carbohydrates to meet what he was already eating per day. And I started working him up with there, right? Starting getting his metabolism to burn more food, getting his body to go from starvation mode into energy burning mode, right? So over the course of time, we went from 2,600 all the way to, on the 29th of January, 3,600 calories. So 1,000 more calories per day Phil was eating. And keep in mind, he is still losing weight in this process, right? So as we gave Phil more calories, his body started to burn more calories, right? So on the 29th, Phil hit 3,600 calories, right? And we go to the 29th of January. So on the 29th of January, Phil is successfully down to 248, eating 1,000 more calories, right? So now that Phil is eating 1,000 more calories, we went back into an actual fat loss phase, which means we turned his body into, going to the metabolic priming phase into actual going into a fat loss phase, which means we start to lower the calories more and increase the cardio more, because now we have more room to work with our calories within the metabolic priming process. Our body is burning food at a very high rate, and we got our calories higher, so now that we lower them, we can lose even more weight. So Phil is going for another 8 to 10 week long fat loss phase, and he's due to lose another 40 pounds, right? So, and that's why Phil has lost almost 40 pounds eating more food. Metabolic priming, right? And we use it with all of our clients. So I have Phil's goals set out for him in his training program. I have 250 grams of protein, 400 grams of carbs, and 70 grams of fat for Phil. I have off-day macros. So I'm very specific about my macronutrient intake with my clients, because you need to be eating less food on days you're not training, because you're simply just not burning as much food, right? So that's super, super important. So we go to Phil's training program real quick. You can see in Phil's training program, he has exactly what he needs to do on what specific movement, on what specific day. So Phil never has a question on what calories he's supposed to hit. He never has a question on what training program he needs to hit. He simply logs into the app, logs into the interface. It'll show him exactly how many sets he needs to do, how many reps he needs to do, the movement he needs to do, and there's going to be an instructional video on exactly how to do that movement, so you know that we're hitting the muscle group correctly. Right? So, along with that is a breakdown of my client Phil's profile. So, along with that, Phil is allocated all my personal coaching resources that I make available for all of my personal coaching clients. Right? So, going over the resources that are going to be applied into the program, and this is where I see the most results with my clients, understanding the process more and being able to implement the information into the plan. Because one, we have one-to-one call scheduling times, right? So anytime Phil needs to talk to me more one-on-one, he signs up a time, we talk a little bit more one-on-one, and I have new clients sign up for one time a week for the first 4 weeks, so we can talk a little bit more one-to-one, get to know each other a little bit better as coach and client, and cover anything that needs to be covered up front, because this cuts the feedback loop in half. And having a short feedback loop whenever you're learning anything new is extremely important, right? Cutting the feedback loop in half. So that's why I do one-to-one call times, one time a week with all my clients for the first 4 weeks of the new programs. So I have my client check-in forum. So this gives me a little bit of context about how Phil is feeling when he checks in with me within his photos. So when Phil checks in with me, I can not only see how many steps he's doing, his sleep, his caloric burn, his body weight, his body fat, his caloric intake, his resting heart rate, but I also have him check in with his photos, right? So Phil has successfully lost 40 pounds with me eating more food. So this is what Phil came to me and what he looked like when we started the program at 280 pounds. So this is what Phil looks like now, eating 1,000 more calories per day, doing no cardio, and eating more food, and 40 pounds down, as I might say. All right. So obviously an insane transformation eating more food, and it's all due to the fact of metabolic priming. But when Phil checks in with me, he uses this check-in form that I developed for my clients that gives me a little bit more context with how you're feeling, right? How you feel this week, how'd your workouts go, energy 1 through 10, hunger 1 through 10, did you follow your meal plan, share personal win, and then anything that I could do better as a coach, right? So along with that, I have our Google Drive, which I'm going to go through in a second. But we have our own personal school community, right? So this personal school community is really, really important for me, because this gives you guys a community of like-minded people which you can talk amongst yourselves. So in the community, we talk a lot about getting along with each other, because, if you want to do something, you need to receive results. You want to be surrounded by people who are doing the same thing as you, right? So environment is everything. If you're in a program with people who are actually losing weight and actively burning body fat, you're more than likely wanting to do it yourself because you're surrounded by it, right? So giving yourself a community, giving my clients a community where they can talk amongst themselves and stay motivated and motivate each other and talk amongst each other is super important when it comes to motivation, right? Because I have operationalized success within my clients, right? So why do clients make the most success with me? One is because they have the plan and they have the structure based around an actual proven science, right? They have a plan and a structure. Why it's important to have a plan and a structure is you can anticipate for roadblocks to come when you have a plan. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. We put a fork in the road and make it very operationalized when we're using a plan. Next, I give my clients all the resources that they currently need to make amazing progress. All the resources, which I'm about to show you here in a second, that are going to be used to implement the plan, understand the plan, and know what you need to do to implement the plan. So what's the last thing you need for clients to make amazing freaking progress? You need motivation. You need the clients to want to be able to implement the information into the plan, right? Where do you get that? You should get surrounded by people that are like-minded people, and on top of that, you have accountability from me and from other people. Me making sure that you're staying on track, you're staying on your plan, you're staying motivated, and you're not falling off track, right? Many of you guys are out there right now trying to do it yourselves. You know, you're probably alone. You're not surrounded by people who are doing it as well, doing the same things that you want to do, and you easily get distracted and you easily get caught up in devices and distractions because you don't have a community of like-minded people wanting to do it, and you don't have somebody trying to actually keep you accountable to reach your goals, right? So within that motivation, I do elevated mindset chats, which means that every Monday morning I give a little bit of motivation and dive a little bit deeper into self-development, right? Like discipline over motivation, being an action taker, how important is your environment, how to build confidence, setting high standards, and I don't have enough time, which is one of the worst excuses I think that people out there have demand, right? So that is going to be the school community that a bunch of us talk amongst. I love the school community. I love the school community. I think it's super sick. So within that, we have the week 1 homework with the new guys. So I've also operationalized the orientation process with my clients. I understand that some of this process can seem extremely overwhelming and that it can seem extremely overwhelming getting into something new you've never tried before, but I have simplified it and operationalized it for all my clients in a 1 through 9 structure to know exactly what you need to do to be ready for your day 1 plan, right? So let's go into the Google Drive where we can see more of my client resources. So I have 6 ebooks associated with the program. The probably most popular ones. So I have 4 nutrition books, 4 cookbooks, but I have 1 main cookbook, right? Which is going to be the Hack to Get Jacked cookbook, which is going to have a bunch of healthy recipes in it, delicious recipes, because I teach people on how to live a sustainable life between a balance between healthy and enjoyment, right? So if you're eating stuff that you don't enjoy eating, obviously, yes, you're going to not enjoy the program very much because you're restricting yourself. We don't restrict ourselves. We are very calculated in what we eat, but we track macronutrients, right? Protein, carbs, and fats. And so we're able to, fit stuff in our diet that normal people don't think you could, but simply by tracking your actual calories. But at the end, I have secret desserts that's gonna have the protein, carbs, and fats in it as well, like protein chocolate PB cups. And then even I got some brownies right here too. So with that, I have 3 other cookbooks. I have a high protein, low carb, and vegan edition. I have the keys everybody needs. So this is everything I've ever learned about training and nutrition, all summed up into 1 simple ebook, right? So I have training, progressive overload is key, RP scale, proven progression plan, what is a macro, meal plan guide to flexible dieting, food list, alcohol guide, MyFitnessPal user guide, what I do if I'm hungry after meals, I have a sweet tooth, I can't stop stress eating, how do I meal prep, carb sources, carbs after dark, protein sources, portion guide, how do I eat out and still get results, fat sources, how do I meal prep if I don't have time, flexible dieting, pre and post-workout nutrition, intermediate fasting, right? Everything I've ever learned about training and nutrition is going to be in that book. And the last ebook I have is the How to Drink Alcohol and Lose Body Fat edition. And a lot of people laugh when they see this, but we don't say that you can't. Obviously, we're going to mitigate, alcohol drinking, but there's a certain way you can go about drinking alcohol and planning your day of eating around going out to drink that night, which means you're not going to take a step back the next day. And this is exactly what that ebook teaches you. So along with that, we'll get to the nutrition metric here in a second. I have how-to tutorials for all my clients. So these are super, super, super beneficial and super informational. These are going to be specific videos like such that I'm doing right now that's actually going to break down exactly in detail the specific design information that I have implemented, right? So like the client check-in form that I want clients to do, flexible dieting explained, which is going to be an in-depth video on how I've successfully been able to track eating pizza, eating donuts into your full days of eating. So it's going to show you exactly how to use MyFitnessPal, how to track food, and also at the end of the video, I show you what you need to do and how to be prepared if you're going out to eat with some friends and you want to successfully track your food, doing that as closely as possible. So with that, I have a food scale tutorial. I have a how to integrate MyFitnessPal with my own personal app. I'm having poor digestion, which is a breakdown of what we can go through if we're having poor digestion. I have my grocery haul list, my FitnessPal tutorial in depth. So people who have never used MyFitnessPal, this is super, super good to use for you guys because it's going to give you an all in-depth breakdown on how to use MyFitnessPal. So I have pre and post workout nutrition. What should I do if I'm hungry after meals? And what should I eat? Protein, carbs, and fats. So you guys are never going to have a question on what you need to eat and what you need and where and what you need to do. It's all going to be implemented within the information and resources center within the program. So with that, I have meal plans. So I have over 60 designated meal plans for all my clients, ranging from 4,200 calories all the way down to 2,100 calories. It's going to be very specific meal planning for all my clients. I have those on your normal days and your training days, and also have rest day meal plans as well. So I have the rest of the weekly mindset chats that I have done in the past all put into one Google Drive as well, like how to weather the seasons, setting standards, developing your own core values, what is self-mastery, finding the 2.0 version of yourself, victor versus victim mentality, lack of motivation, time management, and then MyFitnessPal hacks as well, right? So let's kind of get into a little bit more of the nutrition metric that I've developed based around metabolic priming that has made all of this possible and has operationalized fat loss within men, right? So notice how this nutrition metric I developed is based around all around metabolic priming, which is your body's hormonal priming and body recomposition. So within this nutrition metric, I collect data when new clients start. I do my data calculations, and on their start date, I do a data implementation, which we start with a caloric deficit, which you've been in, a caloric structure swap, or we do a caloric surplus depending on your goals, right? So after that, we go into the metabolic priming phase, where we slowly start to raise your calories and get your body to optimize burning calories and optimize your metabolism and optimize your hormones, right? So once we successfully go to the 8 to 10 week metabolic priming phase, then we can go right into a fat loss phase, which means that when we get our calories up, then we can bring our calories back down, losing even more body fat. And then we can operationalize that as well, which we hit a weight freeze, we add our lower calories, and we go back into a fat loss phase. If we add our lower calories and it does not work, weight comes stagnant, we do a structured refeed to temporarily boost metabolism over the course of a couple of days, getting your body to burn more food and go back into energy burning mode. And then we go back into fat loss phase. And if the structured refeed proves not to work, that's an anticipation and a telltale sign that your body has fully drowned out its metabolism and turned back into actual energy conservation mode instead of energy burning mode. And then we go back into the metabolic priming phase, which typically won't be as long as the first one, but it'll be a small metabolic priming phase until we can go back into the fat loss phase and create enough room with your calories to lower them back down. And I do the same thing with the growing phase, right? And so once we go into the fat loss phase, we get you pretty low calories, get you burning, pretty lean. Then we go in metabolic priming phase, which means that we get your calories up to a comfortable amount, and we can get you into your goal physique. Client end date, better health, sustainable results, nutritional knowledge, more confidence, better dating, longevity, more understanding discipline and how discipline works, and then look good, feel good. And this is like the life after funder with the client testimonial. So this metric has operationalized fat loss. It has made fat loss completely operationalized using metabolic priming. And this is why my clients are making such insane results right now. And that's why we have successfully lost 350 pounds in the last 6 months of pure body fat within the program, right? Because we have operationalized fat loss. So with that, I have an actual breakdown within the video actually explaining the nutrition metric in grave detail. So this is going to be actual breakdown the entire metric from start to finish that I go over, that's going to basically run you exactly through how the program works and how the nutrition metric works and how we operationalize that in general, right? So that's going to be available for you guys to watch as well. But with that being said, that's going to be all the personal coaching resources that I have available within the program, right? So let's kind of go over some actual client case studies real quick, right? So some client case studies. So let's go. You've seen my client Phil, right? And so we're going to go to another client of mine, Mason, right? So Mason went through a metabolic priming phase as well. And what we did with Mason is that we did him a caloric structure swap. We started working his calories up, and we can see even in his notes section that Mason has went from 2,220 calories all the way to this week being at 3,480 calories, so almost 3,500 calories. So he's almost eating 1,300 calories more than where he started, right? So I have all his daily goals set for him right here. But let's take a look at Mason's actual, weight loss journey, right? So Mason went to a metabolic priming phase, which we started at 215. Metabolic priming phase got his body to start burning more food, losing a considerable amount of body fat in the process, and then we kept working him up for there, building more muscle into his skin, making his muscles tighter, leaner, and kind of just growing him into his body. So right now, he's at 215. Right? So he's the exact same weight he started at. But here's the insane part within, the metabolic priming, right? Is that let's go back to what he started at 215. So all right. Let's load. All right, so this is what Mason looked like at 215 when he came to me. Notice how he's like kind of soft, not really, it doesn't have that dry look, kind of almost looks kind of the skinny fat range. So what I did was I raised him from 2,200 all the way to 3,600 by eating more food and get his body to burn more food, right? So this is what he looks like at the exact same weight today. This is the exact same weight as he was in the last photo. But notice how he's much tighter, he's much leaner, he's the strongest he's ever been in his entire life, and he has more muscle mass, and now we're at 3,600 calories, so we can slowly work down to 35, 34, 33, and get him even more shredded. And this is how people get absolutely freaking peeled, is this process that I'm describing right here, right? So another client testimony, one more client progress update that we're going to go through is my client Devin, right? Where's Devin at? Here we go. So Devin is a great example of metabolic adaptation and why metabolic priming works. So Devin came to me and he was eating about, I think I have it written up here. He was eating 1,500 calories per day, right? So Devin was eating 1,500 calories per day, doing an intense amount of cardio, and it was stuck in a weight loss plateau for absolutely months, right? So he came to me, and I instantly started implementing a little bit more calories. So we went from 1,500, and today he is at 2,800. So he's eating 1,300 more calories than where he started off with me, right? So he has got his daily goals right here. Here's how I track his steps, his body weight, his body fat, his caloric intake, his resting heart rate, his lean mass, his caloric burn. And so when we do a breakdown of Devin, so Devin has made one of the most insane, fantastic transformations in the entire program. So let's kind of break down his actual weight and what his weight has looked like so far. So Devin came to me eating 1,500 calories, doing a intense amount of cardio, never in a weight loss plateau. He weighed 188, right? So Devin today weighs 168, right? So he's almost down 30 pounds, eating 1,300 calories more per day, right? So let's take a look at his progress photos and how he has progressed over time. All right. All right, here we go. So this is what Devin came to me, what Devin looked like when he came to me. So he came to me, he was eating 1,500 calories right here, doing a ton of cardio a day. And what we did was we did exactly what I do with all my clients. We cut the cardio, go into a metabolic priming phase, fix your metabolic growth, and grow you up from there, getting your body to burn more food instead of conserving more food in general, right? So from there, this is what he was 188 pounds right here. And so this is what Devin actually looks like today. 160 pounds, eating 1,300 more calories per day, and now he is absolutely shredded. And we're about to go back into another fat loss phase for Devin, and he's got to get even leaner this time, right? So the client transformations and the client results speak for themselves, right? They absolutely speak for themselves, right? What I'm doing is I have operationalized fat loss on a molecular level by utilizing metabolic priming, okay? So this process is an actual proven science, right? It is an actual proven science, and this is why my clients in the last 6 months have seen 350 pounds of body fat lost, and by using metabolic priming, by creating an actual organizational, operationalized, actual metric surrounding fat loss in men, right? So if you guys are one of the guys lurking in the shadows right now, I'm going to go ahead and put my link below where you can fill out an application where you can apply for my personal coaching, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. We can jump on a call and see if we're a good fit to work together. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the link description below. But other than that, that is the full video breakdown, the full program breakdown on how I have operationalized losing body fat by using metabolic priming.